Hello and welcome to Everyday Medicine. I'm Dr. Luke, and I'd like to thank you for joining me on this podcast series where we share conversations with colleagues, exploring their special interests in medicine and health, and bringing insights, ideas and advice which I hope will be applicable for our medical practices. In this podcast, we're talking with a very interesting man about being vision impaired. And before doing so, for Australian audiences, listening does give you eligibility for your CPD, so log in and add this as an activity. And you may also consider journaling, reflection, and adding to the review and performance section in your CPD. Well, Vision Australia estimates there are 453,000 people in our country who are blind or have low vision. This number is predicted to grow to over 560,000 people by 2030. Low vision refers to the ability to see at only 6 metres what a normal vision could see at 60 metres. It also refers to a restricted peripheral vision narrower than 20 degrees in diameter. Such people need to use devices, technology, and adaptive strategies to keep doing the things they enjoy. Conditions such as age-related macular degeneration, albinism, cataracts and glaucoma are often responsible for low vision. Well, for those of us with relatively normal vision, it's easy to forget, ignore, and misunderstand the challenges blind and vision impaired people face daily. Apart from the obvious day-to-day challenges, blind and vision impaired patients receiving medication have to cope with the difficulty of not seeing their prescription medication clearly, not recognising a pigmenting skin spot that may be a melanoma or a scaly lesion that could be neoplastic, and have the significant emotional burden of isolation thrust upon them. I was curious to understand some of these challenges by holding a conversation with the brilliant Mr Murray Stewart. Now, Murray is blind, but has found his way to becoming a community leader, podcaster, philanthropist, myotherapist, athletics trainer for some of our future star athletes, and managing director of Blind Magic Communication. Murray Stewart hails from Australia's Red Centre and is a true inspiration to all who meet him. Please welcome him to the podcast. Murray Stewart, welcome back to Everyday Medicine from Alice Springs. It is a great pleasure to have you here. We really enjoyed the discussion about training, about your involvement with the athletics club in Alice Springs, where you're well respected and considered to be a great mentor to all those junior athletes, some of whom have become Australian champions. We want to talk today about vision impaired, what it's like being a vision impaired, how doctors can assist patients who are vision impaired, because you have been blind from a very young age, and I wanted to just also introduce you to my colleague, Dr. Michael Beach, who you know. Michael's joined us again.
Hi, Murray. Hi.
A great friend of yours, and he's got a great interest in this as well from the perspective of general practice. So, Murray, you're blind, and you have been blind from a very young age. I think you've told us previously you could just pick up light perception from when you were very young, and then eventually, unfortunately, you've had to now learn how to live in a world without vision. Can you tell us, Murray, how has that been? And then I'm going to ask you a little bit about how you've developed your other perceptions, your other senses, and then how we can, as clinicians, assist people that are in a similar position to you, how we can be sensitive to your needs, and how we can best, kind of navigate the services that we really should be reaching out and assisting you with. Just take us through it, Murray. How has it been?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Luke. So firstly, I would like to probably dispel some of the myths out there concerning people who are totally blind or vision impaired. We don't have bionic hearing, or we don't have bionic touch, but what we do have is well-practiced tactile skills and well-practiced hearing skills. It's actually our means of survival. And it's a bit like if you were to exercise the one muscle all the time, you would obviously develop that particular muscle over and above others. And that's exactly what happens to our sense of touch and our sense of hearing, is we become well-practiced at that craft. And so therefore, it's not that we are better than anybody else. It's just that we have well-practiced mechanisms and skills.
Right. Yes.
I'll just say one thing. One thing I've seen Murray do is give speeches.
Yes.
To, say, parents and children of the athletics club. And obviously Murray can't read. He does have a little bit of braille there to help him. Yes. But I've seen him. Murray's got a very good memory, ordered memory, and no doubt he's trained it to be like that. But he was able to go through and mention every athlete in the club and what they'd done, and even their parents and what they've done to help. And that's pretty formidable without being able to read and remember. So I think not only have you trained your tactile sense and hearing sense, but you've trained your brain to file things away very well, and you've got a very ordered memory and an ordered brain. Well, can you comment on that?
Yes, that's the one thing that we do have to have, in fact, is not only become well practiced, but structured and ordered in the way, even when we come home in the evening, we have to have a place for everything. So we don't lose those things. I mean, if we lose something, we can't very well look around and find it. We just have to remember the place. The place where we generally put that particular item, whether it be clothing, whether it be anything, keys, whatever it is, we know that it has its place. And so, our life does have to be well structured.
Murray, I think, Michael's mentioned your very high intelligent quotient and emotional quotient before. I think, you are an exceptional man. Do you think that this, like this being hyper ordered and so forth, very, very structured, is that something you think that is fairly common to people who are vision impaired? Or I'm sort of suggesting that you're maybe at the very upper echelon of the spectrum in terms of being able to do this, or am I incorrect in that, having talked with other vision impaired people?
I think there are a lot of commonalities with other vision impaired people. I know, for example, that because totally blind people can't and we don't produce melatonin, I know that if I need someone at 3 o'clock in the morning to have a chat with, I can call another vision impaired friend because they'll be awake as well.
Just don't call me at 3 a.m.
So we do have some commonalities. The other one too, Luke, is that we know how to talk. So if you want to have a dinner party full of interesting conversation, invite some vision impaired people around, and you'll certainly get that out. I guess we just need also to take a break and learn to listen.
Well, Murray, you've mentioned to me before that you've also developed some other senses that have sort of helped you navigate the world around you. Can you expand on those? Like the hearing was one we just briefly mentioned, but can you just expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, hearing, touch, and also the ability to bring discussion to a dinner table. So I know before I leave home, I need to even practice the voice that I'm going to take with me. So if it's a more intimate discussion, I tend to more chest talk rather than throat talk. I suppose the best way I can explain that is, if I can do this now, so I'm talking from my chest as we speak, and that is more for intimate conversation between a couple of people. But if I was talking to a more a bigger group, I would probably more talk like this, so more coming from my throat. Yes. So I have to decide according to where and whom I'm going to be with, what voice. I always use the term what voice I'm going to wear out. So you might talk about what clothes you're going to wear. I have to think about what voice I'm going to wear. Does that make sense?
It's interesting. Yeah. With the hearing, Murray, I'm just interested to explore that with you a little bit. You've got to listen for all sorts of things that might bring danger to you. Can you expand a little bit on how you've honed your hearing skills? What are you hearing that we perhaps are oblivious to that have got vision?
I practice static hearing, where I will stand at my front doorstep at least once a week, and I will count in exactly the same spot, and I will count the number of sounds I can hear, and I will do the same at my kitchen table. So I will practice that at least once a week in a static position at my table, and also at my front doorstep, and I will listen for as many sounds as I can hear. And my aim is to increase my repertoire every week to increase the number of sounds I can hear. It's a very easy exercise to achieve, but its return is very powerful because not only are you improving potentially your hearing, but it's your hearing acuity, your hearing awareness that you are potentially improving as well. And so I've done that for a number of years, but I urge anyone to do that, anyone, regardless. What is good for vision impaired people is good for everybody. That's the one thing that's very, very evident. Hence why I have formed Blind Magic Communications, my business to help people with these what I call life improvement skills. Not necessarily life-changing, but life improvement skills, because I believe that I have developed these skills that others can learn from.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Can you expand on that that blind magic, those blind magic sort of principles?
Yeah, well, it's something that I thought of, and to backtrack, I have been through some extreme health challenges over the last couple of years. And when I was facing the real prospect of potentially never working again, in fact, I was facing the prospect that I would actually die at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. I'd suffered some strokes and also a massive heart attack. And I was really seriously believing and beginning to believe that maybe my life as I knew it had come to an end. And I remember being on the floor of the Royal Adelaide Hospital and contemplating this disastrous prospect. And I remember thinking to myself, the very things that I'm challenged with are the very things that can create me a future. And that was in my vision impairment. And I thought, you know what, I'm still here for a reason, and it's because of my survival techniques and hence the birth of Blind Magic Communications, that I decided that when I would get home, I would start podcasting, for example, and communicate with the world. And then I would start, I would develop these workshops, which I have. I've put together these workshops, which is based on exactly these survival characteristics that we all have together as totally blind people. And I've called it Blind Magic Communications.
How would people access those workshops, Murray? Suppose a clinician had a patient that was vision impaired.
They can contact me anytime, Luke, on my number, or they can email me. And I've actually got 8 workshops that are put together that are in a video form. And I also can bring those workshops face to face to people's work environment, even to their clinics. I can bring, and I operate best in small groups. Groups of 5 is just fine. And all they need to do is to bring themselves. That's it. Nothing else required. And I can deliver those workshops in their environment. But I also have them available in a video form.
But what are some of the key, the key topics that you're addressing in the Blind Magic Communications workshop?
Yeah, well, as I say, hearing and touch techniques, verbal techniques.
I see. Yes.
Dinner conversation techniques, telephone skill techniques, all sorts of areas that can improve people's lives on the basis of my own. I'm even now moving into the area of healing hands. I truly believe that our hands can change the world. I truly do believe that. Our hands are capable of love or hate, of healing or harming, of nurturing and providing. And I've actually developed some workshops because I've had to develop a very close relationship with my hands, Luke. My hands are my life. And I believe that, and I'm very keen now to introduce this into the domestic violence space, where I can teach young men to build a relationship with their hands and pledge, make a pledge with their hands that they are going to do exactly that: love rather than hate, heal rather than harm, nurture and provide with their hands. Because that's what, if we make good decisions on behalf of our hands, we can become great partners and we can become great fathers. And I'm pitching that particular workshop at young men in the maybe 16, 18 years of age, and even to young domestic violence offenders, because I truly believe that this can change that space.
Well, that sounds like a very useful workshop. Michael, would you like to make any comments? It'd be great if Murray had a little assistance maybe from the government in this regard too, because it seems like a very helpful, and you're clearly the right person to do it, Murray, a very helpful workshop to run, and there's tremendous principles that you're promoting there.
Tell me, Murray, a little bit about being blind and having a dog or a cat or a pet and your relationship. I know you've benefited greatly from having a dog.
Absolutely beautiful. It's the best thing I've ever done. I have a beautiful Maltese Shih Tzu Terrier here, and he's the love of my life. And I'll tell you what has where I've gained the most benefit is from just being able to run my fingers through his beautiful fur. He has the most beautiful fur. If you know anything about the Maltese Shih Tzu Terriers, they have the most incredible fur. And so whenever I am having an anxious moment, I just need to rush my fingers through his fur, and all of a sudden I'm at equilibrium. I'm calm. It's just wonderful.
I remember one day speaking to a patient of mine who was single, a lady, and lived alone. And I asked her, what does she do at night if she's lonely or not feeling good? She said she turns the light off and she sits next to her dog and just pats its head, and she feels better. And I believe it. I believe it. I mean, it's that contact with, not with a fellow human being, but with an animal, with a living being. And
they love unconditionally. So I mean, I'm no different to a lot of people. I've got strong opinions, and I express them, and I express them quite regularly. And I can tell you now, my little dog here, Sainter, I've had no pushback from him at all. I'm not sure that he agrees with everything, but he certainly, I've certainly had no pushback. So we're getting along just fine.
Can you make a comment about the NDIS? There are a lot of controversy about it at the moment, and the big overspend. Some people taking advantage of it. I know you're supported to some degree by the NDIS, and that's fantastic. You're very much someone who needs and deserves that help. But have you got any comments?
I'm personally devastated. I'm absolutely devastated, because the NDIS was the greatest revolution of all time for people with disabilities. It's the envy of the world. But unfortunately, when you have government money to this extent on offer, it attracts people like flies to a barbecue, and that's what's happened. The wrong flies have joined the right barbecue, and it's such a shame, because I want this and need this, not just for me, but also for my daughter who has Downs, and it's just an incredible shame that some of the wrong people with not so good intent have got involved and are ruining it for those who truly need it. But I think we've got to try and reverse the whole situation here. We've got to make sure that people also understand the incredible benefits to our nation of making people like me an equal member of society, and this is exactly what this is aimed to achieve. But wow, have we got some crooked partners in all of this, and it's devastating to me, absolutely devastating. And I so hope that we don't lose it.
No, here.
Can I just ask one other question? Murray, I know your brother is blind as well. You've both been through, at different times in your life, incredible health issues, and you strike me, both of you, as people who are really hard to kill. You went through a massive thing. Tell us a little. You did. and you've come through, and I've seen you since. You sound the same as ever, and you are in many. I mean, things change, but speaking to you, same as ever. Tell us a little bit about your brother's experience.
Well, my brother was catching a train from the Richmond railway station out to Upwey, where he lives. So he would have been probably on the, I don't know, I haven't been in Melbourne for a while, but on that Box Hill and Beyond line going out that way. And he missed the call for the train. So he rushed to get onto the train as it was leaving the station, thinking that he might miss his train.
He's blind.
Unfortunately, he mistook the entrance of the train he was actually in between the carriages. And so he fell underneath the train, which then proceeded to drag him some 200 metres down the track, and the rest of the train, having been shook loose from the undercarriage of the train, went over the top of him. And how he survived that is beyond belief. It's like a 1 in a 2 billion chance, but he has. And you probably know my own experience, Michael, where...
Just quickly mention, your brother lost an arm and a leg.
He's lost an arm and a leg, but
in that accident,
what he has gained as a result of that loss is beyond belief, because he, once again, having challenged what he's challenged, he's converted that into doing something incredible. You'll probably notice now that when you get onto a train in Melbourne, that there is virtually like a platform type entry, and he designed that with an engineer in Melbourne, so the same thing wouldn't happen to another person. So he has been able to create a legacy as a result of his occurrence, and he became the Australian Vision Impaired Australian of the Year as a result of that.
Well, it's impressive that both of you in your 60s still have jobs. You're doing therapeutic massage, and I believe he's an advocate for people.
He is.
With disability.
He is.
People have got problems,
I see.
whether they've got disability or not. He'll go in. He's blind. He's missing an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
He's 63 and he's still working.
Well, I think he's got your generosity and your sort of I was going to say your outlook, a very positive outlook on life.
You can't kill these guys.
Well, we don't want to, do we, mate? Murray, I think we want to thank you very much for joining us again on this podcast. It's been wonderful talking with you, inspirational actually talking with you. We wish you great success with Blind Magic Communications and also Healing Hands. And I would love to see that become a national success. I think it will be hugely valuable for clinicians and, of course, people with vision impairment to be part of that workshop and to get your wisdom and your experience. Good luck.
You do incredible, outstanding work in your field, and I would love to continue collaborating with you in whatever form, and whenever I come to Melbourne, maybe even delivering a workshop at your clinic. Whatever we can do together would be wonderful.
We'd love to do that. I think Michael's clinic would be, we've got lots of people that would put their hand up for it. So thank you so much for that, Murray. Take care and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
wonderful to have been a part of this. Thank you.
Okay, see you, Murray.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for joining me in the conversation with Mr Murray Stewart today. What an inspiration. And just for our guests, please note that Murray will be joining us again on how to exercise well. It's a podcast I think you'll really enjoy, so please make a point of listening to that if you can and when you have time. Now, during this podcast series, we will be covering a wide range of topics across many specialty interests. The discussions are not intended as specific medical advice for patients, but as general information only and reflect the opinions of the guests interviewed. Requests for new topics to be reviewed and comments about the conversation you've listened to are welcomed and may be emailed to manager@gihealth.com.au.